light's on, it means.
It's getting. Where's supposed to be a red light?
Right
It's
here,
on the back.
on top.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know either.
It's
Vince,
on.
oh, is it? Okay. Look,
I couldn't see it the way they.
kind of. Okay, well, Missy and I are here. So, okay, I'm gonna call it's after 5 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. The first thing is approve the agenda. Do we need a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve the
second.
agenda. All in favor say aye. So, okay. That's the other thing I was mentioning, you know, we're supposed to have 3 members on this committee.
We cannot
We don't,
find it still open.
but so 2 of us are here, we have a quorum, as long as Missy and I agree, should not be a problem. But if we don't agree on something, then, it comes to a draw, I guess. Okay, are there any public comments? We don't have anybody here, do we?
No public. Can I make a quick comment
Sure.
before we get started? I just would like to say, due to our last meeting that, and for the public's sake, just because something's found in an audit doesn't mean the department head has done anything wrong.
No, we're gonna,
And that's why we're glad both of y'all are here tonight, so you
Exactly.
can explain the audit to
Yeah.
the public
yeah,
and us. But
yeah, no,
I
that's,
just wanna make that clear to the public, just because something's in an audit doesn't mean, and we don't think, we don't think that you've done anything wrong. You've explained it to us, and it sounds like a big
well, yeah,
mix-up,
that-
but we wanna make that,
that's
we're
what,
glad you're here tonight.
that's what this means for, is to
Right.
get both of their responses, in person to the, response, to the audit findings. And I want to welcome both you guys for being here.
thank you.
And that was that's always been our, this is my 7th or 8th year down here. Our procedure's always been, if there's findings, we have a meeting, go with findings, then we ask the department heads to come to the next meeting to get their side of the story, okay? Which is, lots of times it's easier to do that in person than getting a report, okay? Although if there's any written reports, we'll make those a part of the minutes, okay? Okay. Now, so we approved, yes, ma'am?
Did we approve the agenda?
We
did.
approved the agenda, yes. We've had public comments.
Okay.
Missy had her other hat on.
Sorry.
She was a public. But, okay, now I'll ask for a motion that we approve the minutes from our March 4th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, approve the minutes. All right. Now, the main item of business for this meeting is to go over the findings that the Comptroller's Office had in the latest audit report. Since we've got Donna listed first, we'll go ahead and ask Donna to.
Okay, I'm going to hand out a handout that it'll help you follow me. There has been some really gain in the office from all this, and that being when you first open up, go to the spreadsheet. We've gotten really friendly with this spreadsheet. The comptroller representative, Courtney, she, when she got into this and she was not being able to make sense about, she was brand new, so she wasn't being able to make sense about how the general ledger worked to the bank statements. And it can be very confusing if you can only see this whole fiscal year is laid out on a table in my office as long as this table. The files are about 2 to at least 3 inches thick with reports that we have to put in there that they go through when they audit us to look at them. They go through every month. And then they also are able to tap into our software and go all the way through each month with the software. Now, it's unfortunate, but it could have happened any other day of the month, but not the last day of the month. Casey and I had talked about it that day. Y'all be sure, because they were going to be left, 3 were going to be left, and we were not going to be there. And 2 of them were brand new. 1 was fairly new. Be sure you pay the e-files over. The e-files come in digitally. Then we print out a report off of our system and we go through, and every email has to be, every e-file has to be checked, and it has to be a code put in to pay it over. So that means once that's done, it's going to pay to the bank that night on that date. Well, it didn't get done. And there's a lot of reasons why it didn't get done. There was a tremendous amount of work that day. There was like $38,000 worth of e-files just in that one day of money. And so human error. As the good lady, Virginia Brown at First National Bank told me one time, when I had made a mistake and we had to pay a late fee for Duck River at First National Bank, and Mr. Jones wasn't happy with me. And of course I cried then, and Virginia Brown come and tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "Donna," and she whispered, "if you're working, you're gonna make mistakes. If you're not, you won't make any." So that's simply what this is. And I have written a sheet out for y'all that's attached in there that talks about how this happened. It talks about after they had done the correction of the e-file transactions to pay over to that day, which I had to have happen. I had to make a decision that day because of this working this way. I had to decide, am I not going to pay any checks out? Am I going to wait to the 1st or the 5th of October till they all figure this out? Or am I going to go ahead and get everybody paid? And so we have to the 15th. I took it to the last business day of October to pay. They were still working on everything behind the scenes. Little did we know that BIS had been bought by i3 Verticals. i3 Verticals is a very big company, nothing to shy away from. In that conversion, they lost people. They lost accountants. We now are up close and friendly with a couple of them that we really have a lot of trust in. But we lost the ones that we'd known since we've been there. With that being said, it wasn't easy on their end to do this in a timely manner. As we all will see, the last of the cleanup was in December 2023. But it's noted, like she has in the middle of this spreadsheet, when you come down, and I have lines going across the middle of the page, little lines across 115010, 1000, 15010. That is a transaction that had to be corrected. And then below it, the 2006-90-22 is still there. So we're still carrying it across. It will be there till December 2023. But we still balance, as you can see. Up at the line at the left, if you come down to adjusted bank balance, across there, and then come down to adjusted cash in bank, not there. Yes, adjusted cash in bank. All of that's in sync. I also took every one of those files manually and went all the way back through them. And because they had been working behind the scenes, we reprinted the generated reports again that reflect these numbers, just like they are on here. Every office is different, and I was, kind of taken aback about how the registers do this. But keep in mind when you're looking at this, i3 Verticals / BIS, they have over half of the 95 counties. They are the software company for them. Now, we had a new auditor, she come up with this great idea that gives it a snapshot instead of having to go through, instead of having to do this right here and go through and pull the accounts receivable, mark it, pull the cash journal, go across and check every column, pull the annual financial report for that month, make sure the month forward came through right, make sure the month ending is right. So you can see, and then this is a reconciliation. This comes from the system itself, and it matches up with our checkbook. And the checks, we never have any trouble with this because it's so clear how this happens. And we don't write a lot of checks. We take in a lot of money. And you can see each month will be initialed, and every check that's written, there's a copy of it, a stub in there with it. Every area of the bank statement is checked. So that has always been good. This right here just generates from that one day. If that had happened the day before, we wouldn't be sitting here tonight. Nobody would ever have known it. But it was the last day of the month. You don't balance, the way we balance, we don't balance the e-files to what comes across the counter. So it's not merged together daily. It's not merged together till the last day of the month. But again, I will say that I'm excited to have this balance sheet. When she first brought it in and was telling me that she was going to write us up, which I thought, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this, because in the world that I've been in, in the banking world, in the real estate world, to be out of compliance or to have an overviewing power say that things aren't right is very critical. And so I took it very serious. And I hate it, but we've learned a lot. Casey feels really good about it and really good. She's already got all of fiscal year 24 thus far already on the spreadsheet on the system. Now this can print really big, and she has it green coded and pink coded, and unfortunately our Canon copier that we all lease throughout the county, it's not making real good copies right now. And I did check the ink and all that, but I think it's my where the paper goes through is probably got some crud on it. Okay.
When you said e-file, explain
Okay.
the definition of that.
Okay, e-file.
It's something different to me.
Right. E-file is, in our world, is a transaction that a title company or an attorney at their office has taken in that warranty deed and that deed of trust and whatever else they might have legal document with it. And they are transmitting that through scanning it in through their system. Behind it, they're going to have a certification page that certifies that that person, like it would be Gary Hunt in your law office, in your accounting office, they're certifying it's them, and they have it's all notarized too. And it's dated. It has to be dated the date of that transaction. So those come to us digitally, and they digitally roll into our records.
As opposed to me bringing a deed and you
Yes.
copying it and putting it in a deed.
And we, I'd say 75% of our transactions are now e-files.
Okay.
So that's a big volume.
Okay, now they pay a fee along with that?
They do.
At the same time? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And just think about our today's world. If you had to get, even where you're at on the square, if you had to load up the stuff you needed to bring, get in your car, come up here, or send an employee, then wait for it to be done, or drop it off and then come back and get it. It's all about convenience.
Oh,
And we had big years during COVID. This office generated more than it's ever done. I could not believe what all happened after I looked back at it. Just in a snapshot, I think we turned over 3.4 million this particular year in revenues. And so the other thing is, I had a CTAS, our former CTAS representative, Mr. Gary Hayes. He always comes in when he's in the area. So I told him what was going on because I was back there covered up with these files. And he said, well, what did you do, Donna, when that happened? I said, well, I was determined I was writing my checks to the trustee and to the state. And he said, good choice, Donna. That's exactly what I would have done. The revenue wears the badges, carries the guns, and has the chains to lock your doors. So, you know, no doubt, no matter what was going on, I had to get that done. And it just transferred over into another day, which wasn't showing up as the check was being written. It got very tedious how they had to go in the background to make that balance, where I would have the funds to do that.
Asking on the spreadsheet here where you've got adjusted cash in bank, is that your general ledger number? Is that what that's supposed to be?
Adjusted cash in, where are you at? Adjusted cash in bank.
That
Is that the general ledger number?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then up above is all the things that go about with the bank statement balance, and then adding the deposits in transit. Deposits in transit are the ones that have come over the counter.
Mr. Hunt, I'm sorry, cash and bank per record is under that. Go down one.
Okay. Okay. So, Melinda's right, according to this spreadsheet, it did reconcile then?
Yes, yes. The way you know you've reconciled is if you'll go over to the left and you come down to adjusted bank balance, and then you come down to adjusted cash and bank. Those two lines are uniform all the way around, all the way down on each month.
But now you've got this 1150 you're talking about.
It's already complete. That adjustment's complete, so we have taken that out of the equation.
Okay, but you used it to reconcile, correct?
No,
No, I see.
it's been updated.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's been updated.
All right, to get back to the audit finding, the way I read it, she said there were some checks not showing up on your reconciliation. Is that right? Isn't that what you said?
No,
I thought that's what you said.
no. The checks are always gonna show up. I don't see anything like that.
Yeah, let's see. Finding.
Bank statements were not accurately reconciled with the general ledger.
238,
Which page?
238.
238.
Have you got stuff that I don't have? I mean, writings?
Just the audit book.
I mean, did she, am I
Well,
understand?
it says, now here it says, for 9 months of the year, not all of the outstanding checks were included in the reconciliations.
Oh, yes, they were.
Well, I'm saying, okay, I'm just saying,
Our,
Right here.
our, outstanding is automatically generated by our
Okay.
reconciliation report.
and then, let's see, the register attempted to reconcile the account. However, unidentified immaterial differences were reflected on the bank reconciliation for 9 months of the year, and not all of them, okay.
And they're
That's-
right
it's
there on
those
your
two
sheet,
figures.
those two amounts.
Did she have this?
She made
She
this.
made it.
In all actual, the people that I have talked with would have never done this finding.
Well,
But she was new,
I'm gonna get to that.
yeah, she was new, and she decided that she was gonna call this a finding. Now, she also was new to doing what she was doing, but she's already been, promoted. She won't be back. Amy Hewitt's supposed to be in this month.
Well, the question I have, which checks is she talking about that weren't there? But you're
I
saying
don't
they
know.
are there.
Yeah,
All-
my checks are all here.
The only thing
No,
that
no,
threw,
no, on the reconciliation. She's saying the
Okay.
immaterial differences were reflected on the bank
No.
reconciliation for 9 months of the year.
Let me show you this right here. If she's talking about the reconciliation report, that is gonna be right here where I was holding up a while ago. And there you go. That's how that is. And our bank statement does not get, approved to go into the notebook unless it's in balance with that right there. And the outstanding, we don't have that many outstanding checks. We
We
don't
run
write a
between
lot of checks.
$30 and $80.
Right.
So there was no missing checks. If there's any further question about that, you need to give her a call.
Well, that's my question. That's, this,
But I don't know why she was wording that. Haven't even seen that. Can I please see that?
Yes. That's right,
that's,
where I underlined.
that's what we were going by. That's all we've got to go by. And that's what we were going by, was said.
That's not true. I have that report, and that coincides with each statement in here. There's no way that I had any missing checks. No way. You can't miss them. Again, this was a new auditor, and it's really complicated my world and my staff.
It wouldn't matter if she's new or not. She is a supervisor. Supervisor's supposed to sign off on this.
She didn't look at my records. She never looked at anything.
Did you know she was gonna write you up on this?
Not until the very day that she said that they were ending. I had been out with surgery. I came back in, and that day they showed up. They weren't supposed to come in until the next day. And I had gotten a phone call that they were on their way and that she had written me up.
Okay. My question or problem with this, not you, with this, is she says immaterial differences.
I don't even know what she's meaning.
If it's immaterial, it's not a finding. It can be in a management letter, which is to you and to us and the commissioners. And it goes to the controller's audit, but it's not a part of the audit. The finding in the audit, I don't know why they wrote that up. It's not.
I know, I
what
can't
she's
believe
saying
I'm
is not
sitting
what-
here.
Yeah.
Me and Casey both.
I'll try to explain that 115010. When two warranty deed and deed of trust come in, they were improper. We didn't catch something because there's all kind of the list that until you get to this next two steps that you don't catch some of it. We had avoided batch, which means it's not correct. We got to send it back to the submitter. We voided it. So here, as soon as you price the e-file, it's like you got the document, that 115010 come in. Here's a general ledger. It made another instrument number, and that's what we're supposed to collect on. When we voided it, it voided our documents and our bank statements, but it carried on the general ledger, and it was a glitch. And we didn't. And that's what that one was for. That 269022 was in that amount of those e-files that did not get verified on 930.
That's a group left.
That's the only thing that happened was that 930 on both of those, and it just kind of snowballed through.
I mean, I've really considered sending an envelope with all this in it to Mumpower because I think that he should see it. I think that it's used a lot of time when we're a small office. He's the superior person over the comptroller's office. He's come to several of our events, and he's very intelligent. But, you know, this took time. This has taken so much time to go through every one of those months again, to go through writing explanations, to handle the newspaper calling me, to all of this, what we're doing right now. There was nothing missing. It was totally explained about that month. And listen, I called the former auditor of the former fiscal year, and he said he could not tell me what to do because he didn't want to give the advice.
Well, I understand.
Okay? So, you know, there's only so much humanly you can do. We feel like humanly we've done everything, and it's above par the way we do our books. We've always been complimented about every balancing file, and especially how we balance the e-files. So, you know, I just feel like that she needed a file, and that's all I can come up with because nothing's justified.
I have a question. It says here that, you know, you concurred with the finding.
Yes, I sure did, because I had never had a finding, and I didn't know what to do, Mariana. Actually, I should not have concurred. The next time I go down this highway, and I know it's to be this, if I knew what I knew right now, I would have never concurred. But it was my
That's all.
first time.
That's what I
Now, when I came into this office in 2014, there was 2 findings that had been riding the books for 4 physical years. They walked into my office 2 weeks after I was there and told me I had to clear the findings in 2 weeks. Amy Hewitt did. And I cleared those findings. And how did I know how to do it? From my training at the bank, is all I can tell you.
Well,
It was down to getting teller cash drawers.
yeah, that's, Mariana brought that point up, that.
Yes,
you
I did
don't-
concur.
You don't concur with it if you don't concur with it. You don't agree to it. if you
Yeah,
don't. And
but
that's in your response.
I had talked to
I
my
do not.
husband the night before, and that was the only person I talked to before meeting them the next morning. And he told me, he said, don't fight them because you won't win. And you just take the report and go with it. So when I sat there, they knew I didn't agree, but I had to go ahead and let them get done. But I learned, Gary Hunt, from this example that I will never concur or agree with any kind of thing that goes against my office ever again that I don't agree with.
No. I mean, that's part of it. Your response to the finding is, I don't agree. That's exactly it.
Should have done that. Should have done that. Yes, sir. Lesson
And
learned.
then, generally, if you did it, then they may have got the supervisor in to mediate between the two and make it a decision.
She was there in the same meeting.
Well, but if you agreed, if you kind of agreed.
She was
that's it.
she was helping her the entire time.
Okay.
I kind of see why you said that, so you could go back and
The
explain
pressure.
it, but you know,
Like I
it's a good
said, to
learning
me, this was
experience.
very serious. Very serious. And
Hey,
I
hey,
couldn't believe it.
A finding is serious, if it's a serious finding. It's supposed to be serious to actually be a finding. I'm still not sure. Is, in the balance sheets, I haven't got to throw this, is her cash balance separate?
Yeah.
Do we have a balance sheet separate?
Okay, all the fee officers are under Constitutional Officers Fund.
Right.
They're not separate.
Do you know? Okay. So we don't have a balance
They
sheet
take-
for her?
No, they take all those and they go together.
And what I would do, Gary, if you still have question, you're welcome to come. I've got that all spread out in the office. And you can sit down with each file, pull each month's reconciliation printed off of the reports to the bank statement. You will clearly see everything's in tune.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, she's saying that they didn't rely on your reconciliation, they relied on services, testing and alternative auditing procedures, which I understand, to decide that the cash in bank was correct. You have a separate checking account, don't you? You've got a separate banking account,
Yes.
checking,
Right there.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. But we don't, but that's not called in, she doesn't do a balance
No,
sheet.
they take their money and they write a check when they balance once a month, and then it goes to the trustee.
No,
They keep some of it, but the majority of it.
no,
their
we put our
fees-
money in the daily into that checking account. And at the end of the month, I write 3 different checks to John Marchesoni, and I do an ACH to the state. Automatic. There's no room for error when you get down to cutting those checks.
Well, I understand that, I'm just,
And you can see that checkbook right there.
I'm still trying to decide why she thought that needed to be done. I'm gonna have to study on that.
Well, you know, it's all in what you want to do. If you want to keep it open and talking about it for 6 months, that's fine.
No,
But-
I don't
But
wanna do that.
we know the office, and I'm the official of that office, and I know it's all in good standing, and I don't have any explanation for what she did. Amy Hewitt and I will be talking about it this month, and I will be handing over her this information.
No, my point is to try to defend you is, unless I understand why they thought this rose to the level of having a finding, I'm of the mind of writing the letter and ask that the report, that it be removed.
That's what
I
I want to
don't
do with
know what
Mr.
happened.
Mumpower. I want to send him this, and I know that he
Because I don't
is
see
very
where-
good at what he does, and he will see this very clearly.
And
and-
they generally support the folks too, so, I don't know. But I don't think it's.
I don't like the wording in that unidentified and material differences.
It was
Well-
all
I don't like that
identified.
at all.
I know, that's why I'm asking her, why, if she,
I don't know.
Not on your part.
No,
on
I
their
know.
part.
I know. I don't. I don't have her
unless-
reasoning. I know that she was mad at me through this because
that
of.
that shouldn't enter into it.
Yeah, it does. It does, Gary.
It should. Not
It
supposed
does.
to. Not supposed to. So,
She was very unreasonable.
I don't get their
Well,
balance sheets. I don't
okay,
get their
that's why I was asking.
Oh, you disagree with me?
No, she said the balance sheet.
No,
Oh.
she didn't find the
Okay.
balance sheet.
I just know they all are in one
Mm-hmm.
fund.
I was trying to find you're telling me at the end of your period, your cash and balance was, what was it? Was it $3,000?
We don't carry, the money gets taken out very quickly. Now, there's also another, there may be, no,
Our cash and balance of Blackford.
yeah, the cash that's in the account is back up, cash and bank per record is the 41160. But normally,
Okay, that's because
Yeah.
at the end of business, end of day, end of business, last day of the month, last day of the fiscal year, you had $411.60. That's what you're telling me. Okay.
That was after State Department revenue, all three trustees' checks.
and see now, this is the other puzzle. When you get into looking at the month-end statement from the bank, they're gonna have last month's ACH and the 3 trustee checks.
Yeah, well,
They're not
that's-
gonna have the current month because they
That's
haven't
why you're
cleared yet.
That's why you're reconciling.
Right.
Yes.
That's the whole point of the reconciliation. But that's what I'm getting.
And another
But
thing she
still-
didn't like was she thought that we weren't reconciling at all when she didn't see the writing on the back of this. We don't need
That's-
that when we have
No,
this.
I don't know anybody.
We check it all off with this.
other than-
And I tried to explain over and over.
I
but-
have balanced that way. I've made
Yeah,
her.
now we're doing it. Because we're afraid of getting written up again.
Yeah, I have been, I balance our way, and then I go back and balance that way, and then I go
And
back
then
to
we
the Excel
balance
sheet.
this way.
As long as you have a reconciliation,
And
it
it's-
doesn't have to be manual.
And the sad thing,
Manual's fine, but it doesn't have to be.
the sad thing is it's time. Oh, I thought she was really gonna write us up. I thought that she was gonna write us up over not doing the back of the, I said, do you know how many years ago we all quit that?
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Well, okay, I've still,
And then I think the notes, did you see my notes I gave you too in that handout? Will help you somewhat there. There's the 2 adjustments that weren't all the way cleared out that they've still were working on and didn't complete that last one till December 2023. A lot of that was because they were changing out accountants and they really didn't know how. I mean, it was twisted.
okay, when did you get that corrected? The error that you found?
December 23.
Okay.
And then the other one was November 2022, and the deposits were caught up into the month of October that were not on the last day of September.
All right. I have to think about it. I may send him an email.
Yeah, it's sad.
I mean, we have in the past had the auditors come and explain their side to us.
Yeah, we're happy to do that.
You think they will be? Okay.
They They always say anytime.
Yeah, well, I thought that.
I know Amy Hewitt is available because she's supposed to be coming by this month, but I don't think Courtney's in the area anymore. But Amy, like you said, Amy should be able to understand every sentence.
I know, but I'm wanting their defense for
Mm-hmm.
for the finding.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they're thinking something we're both overlooking. I'm not saying that, but based on what you're telling me and what I'm seeing, and by them saying that there's immaterial things are not a finding. But they're saying that the bank statements, their recommendation, bank statements should be reconciled with the general ledger monthly, and any differences discovered should be identified and corrected promptly. You're telling me you do reconcile it monthly.
Lord, yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how did she decide you aren't reconciling it monthly?
What she was seeing was those figures in the background on the general ledger, as she has on here, that you see down here at the bottom. Those, and then also my balancing month when the e-files didn't pay over exactly like they were supposed to. She's seen that background things, but she knew when she done this that we balanced, but she still wrote the finding.
Okay.
So,
The amount of dollars here, doesn't really justify spending a lot of time on it, but your reputation in my mind does.
yes, I thank you, Gary. I really thank you, because it's,
That's-
I've lost a lot of sleep, and I want y'all to know that I handled this on a day that was day number 8 after a major surgery, and I told those 2 women exactly what had happened and how I had stitches from one side of my body to the other. They didn't flinch. They didn't care. I'm telling you, when you have no compassion for people or try to understand them for where they're coming from what happened, and like I told them, I said, I was blaming myself, Gary, because I had been sick. And
You shouldn't have had to be up there on that day if you just had surgery.
you ask her, that's what we do. I know Teresa does it too. I know she's done it in the past when she had some cancer things to deal with. You do it because you feel so
know.
obligated because you're the official, you're the boss. And Casey's the chief deputy, and every day is a rolling ball through there. And we still have, a couple of them learning things each day. There's every day I learn things too. So, we don't want them to have to make a decision on something they're not sure about. And so we make sure we're there. Coffee County, we've just seen a little taste of it, but the things coming through our office right now are showing us that we're going to have a lot of work ahead of us. And that means a lot more deeds of trust, a lot more car tax.
Do you know how many dollars ran through this fiscal year? Your office?
Yes, I think 3.4.
Million?
Uh-huh. 3.4, and we had 21,600 transactions, and that's e-files and across altogether.
So you handled $3 million, and we got $400 at the end of the year left.
That's
In your
because
account.
that's because it pays over. Now keep
Yeah,
that in
I
mind. Yeah,
understand that.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, materiality. here. So-
And the registers only, for our county, I only get to keep 2.4% of what we collect out of the mortgage taxes and the conveyance taxes. All the other offices that are official offices that generate funds, they're getting 5 or 6%. They cut the registers in 2008. And now we learned recently that they're taking the funds and putting it towards like
School, I think.
housing, affordable housing. It's been going towards grant writing. But that money for our county would have been double. Like Mariana, what I turn over, what you see, it would have been double if they had done us right. And when some of us new ones came in starting in 2010 and 2014, we went to bat for it, but we got shut down real quick. So that's when I started learning how things are done at the top of the state.
Well, I don't get anything for all I do, so. I'll send it.
But it's a lot of money that our county does not get. That should. You know,
That's generated here.
that's generated here, and the offices, you know, the expenses of that office are here, and it's sad. I couldn't believe it when I was looking at the few times I wrote checks, that how little we get to what we collect. And it's big in the state. If you'll pull up the state year-end report, you can go right to the line item of collections for conveyance tax and mortgage tax, and you'll see how big those line items are. It's way out there.
All right, well,
And you take a Rutherford County, like she feels so bad for us because she knows how I have to beg for money. And Rutherford County's even tried to get them to think about letting Rutherford County help sister counties with the extra funds that she has setting in DP fees, you know, even how much they collect in that. But nobody will come in and they won't agree to it. But it would be very reasonable if that could be done to help the smaller offices around them, because she can't use up that money the way she needs to, but she could sure put it over our way, and we could get a cradle scanner, or we could get, you know, other equipment that helps us process quicker. Casey, you got anything?
the
I think that's it.
commission could give you that too, I know.
Gary, you gonna come with me to present my budget? I would love for you to. I don't get any good responses, but anyway, we try.
All right, well, I think we beat this about as much as.
And I appreciate it, because I want y'all to be clear before I leave the table.
I understand, that's why we asked the department heads that have a finding to come and talk to us. I'll think about this and maybe talk to another governmental auditor or two that I know and see. At a minimum, I think my report to the commission will cover this.
Well, I thank you,
I
Gary.
don't agree with it, whether we probably not gonna get anything changed, but I tell you that I don't, based on what you told me, I don't view it as anything serious.
Thank you. We've
Okay.
beat it to death
Yep.
in the office, believe me. The staff is so tired of hearing it. I told them tomorrow we're having an ice cream party to celebrate.
All right, we'll go with that. Now, Teresa.
Well, mine's
Yours.
pretty simple compared to all that.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, okay, where you want me to start? I had a,
I mean, there's that basically what
I had a disgruntled employee that called the State Department, the comptroller's office, and complained that I was a fraudulent person. So therefore, they wrote me up here before last. They told me that finding would not go away until I was investigated. Well, I've been waiting 2 years for an investigation. Nobody has come yet. The auditor told me this year, well, this has to stay on here until you're investigated. I said, okay, fine. I'm waiting. Bring it on,
Yeah.
you know. So anyway, after talking with y'all, after the last meeting, I called the investigations department and talked to Christy Tennant, who is over that, and she told me that if I did not have any audit findings this year, it would just go away. It was just something they had to put in there.
well, that seems not fair.
Well, exactly, over a disgruntled employee that calls and
I
tells
mean-
somebody. And I'm not the only person she called and complained on.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean,
whatever.
I could understand why I think they ought to have investigated you or
Well-
cleared you, one or the other.
Exactly. And she assured me that if I did not have any kind of other audit finding this year, it would just go away next year.
Well, let's see,
But-
last year you did have another audit finding besides this, didn't
Yeah,
you?
because I wasn't signing some report that they had never told me before that I had to sign. Because, you know, they're always gonna find something, because
Audit
that's what their
logs.
job is.
It's audit log, wasn't it?
Audit log, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
I had not been signing off on them, or at least two of us hadn't been. I think one of us was, and it requires two, but they had never told me before we needed to sign those things. That's the only audit finding I've ever had, other than segregation of duties in the very beginning that took us all years to get rid of.
Right, right. That's always an issue with smaller.
So my
Officers
question
review.
was always to them, how are you gonna investigate something when I have zero audit findings,
Right.
except that one? But anyway.
Okay. Again, I don't think it's fair, but sometimes. like this-
Well, and I also asked her if she would do it in, anything in writing, and she said no, they were not accustomed to that.
That's a cop-out.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but anyway,
Okay,
so,
all right.
I'm,
Well, that explains it.
yeah.
Best we can. Okay. Well, is there any other business? You got anything?
No, sir, I think they've explained it pretty well.
All right. Mary Ann, you got anything that we need to know about?
Not right now.
Okay, well, I guess, I'm trying to decide if I wanna have try to get the auditor here or not. Let me, think on this, I guess, and then if we need to have another call meeting, we can, I suppose.
Okay.
I'm kinda busy at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
we all are.
yeah, I know y'all are too.
But I tell you, don't have a meeting just for my defense. I don't think we should waste time on it.
Well, that, at a minimum, I think it's gonna be in my report, I said the commission, that
That's fine.
we, I think if you
The worst
concur with
part's
that.
over.
I concur with that.
Okay, that
The
we don't,
worst part's over.
we-
We all
we
see
don't-
it.
okay, that we don't think it was serious, and, we've certainly had more serious findings than this in years past. Not fraudulent or anything, I'm just thinking things that I definitely did agree with Comptroller's Office on. This one, I'm not sure I do.
Gary, I would like to say that Casey and I both have, it's been stereo to us from BIS, I3 Verticals, that we're one of the strongest counties on balancing. And so I went through last night, I didn't get very far, I got to the Ds, going through the counties to see the findings and the audit reports online with the state. And I didn't see one registrar's office on there so far. Now, it looked to me like there's a lot of trustees and sheriffs on there, but no registers, but
Is this software company nationwide, or is it just Tennessee's?
what, just Tennessee's comptroller report.
No, I'm talking about the software
Oh,
company,
they
who,
are all over now, even like, I was down in Louisiana, you know, that's so
Yeah.
different than here.
right,
And I had to look something up for one of the family members down there, and I3 Verticals is.
There's one in Tullahoma now.
is it?
But you know, we've been BIS for years,
Yes.
and then they decided to merge with a bigger company, and I3 Vertical actually has an office in Tullahoma, which I think is where Lynn Sebring works, right?
He works, I think he works.
So they own different entities?
Okay.
They
Well,
own multiple
what I'm
They
getting,
own-
they're in other states,
They do.
not,
Well,
not
and-
Tennessee only.
And not just this kind of
Somebody
software,
told me
they're
he
in
worked
bigger
there.
entities.
It's for the
Okay.
Bay, it's a
Things.
contract
Okay.
for the Bay, but I don't know.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know it was
If you look
right
up their,
through.
you can Google them,
But,
you'll see
but
all.
they're, yeah, well, they own different, they own different
But I thought
places.
that was impressive, because they say it is,
But see,
they're
they're
still in
I3s all
transit,
over
but they're
now.
gonna be even better and
They're
better
just-
at their software.
BIS is
Oh,
just
well,
a,
yeah.
what do you call it,
Hope-
a branch
hopefully.
of all the,
But he does work.
All right. You got anything in?
No, sir.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Casey, for being here. I appreciate it.
I can go play bunco now, right?
Our seriousness about